Okay, this is my story of Goodnight Moon. So it all started with a simple act by my grandma. She always gave one of her grandchildren this book when they were born, And in 1992, I was given my first and only copy of this story. And reopening this book for the first time in 12 years holds so many memories and special moments shared with my loved ones. Just the creaking of the binding and the smell of the book, just it just brings me back a lot of memories from when I used to read this as a child. And it just takes me back to the nights that my mom or my dad would read me this story at night. And it starts out in the great green room. There was a telephone and a red balloon and a picture of, and then it just kind of leads you into the book, as simple as that. And that's just kind of how the book starts. Opening up in the setting of a bedroom where most children would be hearing or reading the story for the first time, and their mother or father would be reading it to them. And I think it connects not only to me, but also to the reader. And which was my mother or my father. And just by using, simple, common key images in the story, and immediately, the first picture portrays a young bunny already tucked in bed and the star shining through the window. Immediately that becomes me. That became my life, what was happening, and putting myself in that situation. And most of the time that's exactly what was happening anyway. I was hearing the story, getting sucked in, and so it just took me right there. And then so I became the center of the story, and it just brought the story to life a lot more. And so the story continues, and it says, the cow jumping over the moon, and it was a picture of the cow jumping over the moon, and there's 3 little bears sitting on chairs, and 2 little kittens, and a pair of mittens, and a little toy house, and a young mouse, and a comb and a brush, and a bowl full of mush. And so that part was always my favorite. By doing a room scan, it helps put the room together, characterize whose room it is and what's happening. And then in this case, this was my room, the little bears, my mittens, my little toy house, my quiet old lady or mother or father, in the corner. And next is a comb and a brush and a bowl full of mush, and a quiet old lady whispering hush. And hush is most important. Anytime that my mom or my dad would read this story, the hush was a whisper. It's a very quiet whisper. And this is when my eyelids really felt like sandpaper. This is what set into my mind that it was bedtime. Everyone was quiet and everyone was going to sleep. And the softness in these words was very special and helped me understand the meaning behind the whispering of those 2 words, the hush and the mush, that it was bedtime and the rest of the world was quiet. And the story continues about the young bunny telling everything mentioned a simple good night. So after, it kind of explains, what's going on in the room and what is there, what is his, and so it continues, and the little bunny is telling everything good night. And as humans in our households, we tend to tell goodnight to those people or things when you're a child, and animals that you care about. You tell them goodnight, in which that's what I took away from most about this book. And then getting older, as I reread it again or reopen the story again, in my perspective now, I say goodnight to those people and animals that I care about, because we're not always promised tomorrow. So for me, goodnight is not only going to bed, but it's, a sense of not going to bed angry, and it's a simple act of, I care about you no matter what. And it just, saying goodnight has always been important to me, and I think that's what I really carried away from this book, and this book had really brought back into my life. So that's my Goodnight Moon story.